that this awareness would speak to the theme of the moment, the theme of Easter, that many are celebrating this event, and many know it as a Christian holiday, that being the crucifixion of Christ, Jesus Christ, or the one known as Jesus Christ, and his resurrection. This awareness will not speak to the Christian theme or understanding of this celebration and the resurrection of the one known as Jesus Christ. It would rather speak to the situation that is present at this time, represented by the experience of the one known as the Messiah, the crucifixion of him, and his death into that which is the old and established, and his rebirth in the new body that presented itself to the disciples and apostles. That the theme of the crucifixion, is really the theme of the death of the old and to the old. The death into that which was held to be and is held to be the reality of this third-dimensional planet, and a belief system that many hold to be of a nature that cannot be transcended, that is an established order to things. That if one understands that at this very time the planet herself is going through an extreme shift, an extreme consciousness shift. And if one is to understand from this that this would mean that the individual himself or herself is also perhaps going through the endings of things, the releasing of that which has been the order for so long, and that if one sees this in their own lives as being so, then perhaps one could begin to understand the true message of that which was the crucifixion and that which is the resurrection. That the planet at this time is undergoing the endings of that which is the old regime and the old order. And this is being reflected in many, many levels indeed in the physical reality of your experiences. And many are being drawn into these experiences and drawn into that which is the darkness and the negativity of these times, the political times, the social times, the economic times, but in particular that which is the situation that is occurring in the Middle East, and the situation that those in power are trying very hard now to establish as the true order again. But on a personal level, and this is where this awareness would direct your attentions, many of you are finding that which has worked for you, or that which you have been involved in as your interpretations of reality, is no longer valid as it once was, and that what is necessary at this time is the realization that many are tuned in to the shift in consciousness and are therefore experiencing on a personal level the shifting out of that which has been into that which is not yet known, not yet the truth of your being or the truth of your experience. That in this example of one who was an enlightened master, released from that which was the worldly regime of his experience, so that he could resurrect into the new being, the higher state of his consciousness, that this is to be seen, therefore, as an example for each and every one of you who are coming through a difficult period at this time, a period of great intensity and challenge, and that the best way forward is to let go of that which has been, so that which could be may indeed be born. This was exemplified in that which is known as the resurrection of Jesus the Christed One, where he reappeared to his followers, and they could see him in a physical form, a physical body that they could touch and experience. That while many hold that this means the rebirth of the divine and the showing of the divine to them, in actuality, on a personal level at this time in particular, what it can be taken to represent is that which is the higher multidimensional self, the fifth dimensional self, and coming back into physical form, into a third dimensional form. No longer that which was once so, but something more, something greater, something beyond that which has always been known to be the physical, the established order of things, that which is believed in. In other words, when the one who is known as Jesus, the Christed One, returned into the physical, he was in actuality fifth dimensional. He was in actuality spirit, manifesting in a physical form, but not of the physical. What this means for one and all who are moving into this intensity of energy is that many of you are being challenged by many of the factors of life that are taking place now, especially on that geophysical level of things, where the challenge seems to be not to be sucked into the events that are taking place, that are allegedly taking place, and instead to focus on letting things go, dying to the old, so that you can allow the experience of your own greater being to manifest in your lives, so that you can be resurrected into the light of your own consciousness, the expanded consciousness of your being, your multi-dimensional, multi-spiritual being. That this is the message of this time. Not simply that which has been given to you through the Bible and the religious orders that developed after the one who was known as Jesus lived, but that which is your truth, the truth of your spirit being, and how you are all highly developed, evolved spirit beings who are beginning to let go of that which has been the lie and the delusion of third dimensionality for so long. And as you do so, you will find the shift in consciousness that occurs is that which will awaken in you the knowledge and the knowing of your own greater spiritual being as a resurrected being of divine order and divine magnitude. And thus the resurrection can be experienced in a most personal way, and therefore do not be surprised if as you let go of those beliefs and those programs that have defined you in an old and established way, the third dimensional reality of restriction and slavery, that as this is released and that you open up to that which is your grander nature, that you will find this reflected in your very life and the experiences of life. It is the deeper truth that one must die to the old to be born into the new. And as you understand this at the most personal level, then it will be your experience that that which once defined you no longer applies, and that which will define you is only now beginning to emerge. Therefore, at this time of this Easter celebration, and after it is complete as well, remember this message that many of you are experiencing the death of the old and the rebirth, or the birthing into, rather, that which is the greater truth of your being, your true spiritual being. And it is so.